So,
Yeah, it's live.
okay. So, good evening, everyone. Welcome to IEEE-SSIT. In this particular society, we are wary about how social implications of technology can develop and take our society altogether forward. So, today, our event is Ethical Code, and we have with us Miss Laveena Kewlani. She's an accomplished data scientist who has an experience over 7.5 years, and currently she is working at PayPal, and she has earned her MSc in Machine Learning and Computer Vision from Technical University of Munich and has excelled in roles at OYO and Yara International. So, welcome, ma'am. Thank you for choosing IEEE Society for sharing your insights.
Thanks for having me.
So, so, ma'am, one thing which I would like to tell my audience before starting is that you are a VITN itself. You were a VITN.
Yeah.
You are a VITN, and you were in our 2013 batch, if I'm not wrong.
So, yeah,
And you were pursuing biomedical engineering. Is it
correct.
correct?
Yep.
And when I saw your resume, I was actually quite curious. Like, I wanted to know, like, how did you just, change or transitioned into a particular field which was completely different than biomedical? Like, how was that journey about?
So, hi, I'll introduce myself. A little
Yeah, sure.
introduction. My name is Laveena. I'm from Lucknow, uh,
Okay.
and it's been almost a decade. Yeah, almost more than a decade. I've not been to Lucknow. So, uh, regarding my journey with biomedical engineering, first of all, my there was this persuasion from my parents, especially father, that I be a doctor because I was pretty good with biology and all. But deep down, I had this math bug in me. Okay, so I dropped it and then I pursued biomedical.
Yeah. Okay.
Then in the biomedical itself, like you have three or four different domains, which is basically wet labs, nanotechnology, and biotechnology, stuff like that. And then you have electrical electronic engineering, where you have big machines like CT, MRI, and people. Actually, biomedical engineering are people who are involved there. And then there are freaks who are more into data, like the data that is generated out of that machine, and then looking into it. So I kind of found this path, like this area, quite intriguing. So during
Okay.
my final, like from my, like all the electives and everything were almost towards, were always towards this domain, basically. Thing. Yeah.
Okay. So, like,
Towards
do
this. Yeah.
VIT also? Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
I
like,
took
VIT
part
also gave you that particular.
in.
Sorry, you
Yep.
complete.
So yeah, it was like I took subjects like pattern recognition and signal processing and everything. Like I used to take random subjects, not even in my curriculum. Sometimes just they are in my mark sheet lying down. So yeah, and plus the present like the paper publication, the final year project that we have in the last semester of 18 or 20 credits, that itself was which is now patented, by the way, was also
Oh,
like
wow.
into electronic, yeah, electrical and electronics, but with the bit of gate analysis day. So this pattern of signals and imaging and everything was very intriguing. So that was the domain. That's why it took me in that way. And similarly, like in Munich, like I worked as a backend developer in Cognizant before moving to Munich. In Munich also, my degree was biomedical computing, where I
Oh,
particularly was more inclined towards computer vision, mathematical optimization. So yeah, and my PhD topic is also on the same. Like I'm also pursuing PhD. Let's hope I finish it someday. Uh, then so it has been like that. It's not like I have taken a entirely different route, but rather, yeah,
okay.
I I had options to choose my journey.
Yeah, that is quite interesting, ma'am. That is nice. So, like, the topic which we are covering today is for the ethical is about privacy, and there is a part other also. We'll come back to it later. So, when I say privacy, ma'am, so according to you, what is the importance of privacy? As you are a data scientist yourself, and we know how important and crucial is data right now. So, privacy, according to you, I would like to know.
So I'm not just a data scientist, more of an architecture. Like I'm more of an
Okay.
in an architecture where these systems, that smart systems, are being developed. So I would say a half a decade back or a decade back, data was in a very rudimentary and preliminary stages, right? Where
Hmm.
the collection was going on, but the technology was not very smart. Maybe if you take me a decade ago, if I would had like the reason why I got intrigued of signals and data points, because that was very rudimentary back then, or half 1.5 decade ago. But now the systems, because of the cloud and everything, is so much mature, that
Yeah.
the focus has always been in making things smart. But uh, in order to make things smart, you have to make sure that the smart things don't come back to you and ruin your life, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes. Yes.
when the information transfers from one system to another, followed by a series of commands that gives, for example, chatbot, right?
Hmm.
So it has access to some information, right? Now through that chat box, if somebody is smart enough to backtrack, like do a back engineering, he can
Hmm.
easily ruin the entire system, hack your APIs, get into the, like, the encryption hashing that you have applied can actually go and drain. So, and there's so
Oh wow.
many incidents. I like on the top of my mind, one of the incident, because I am a big avid big basket user. I think in 2021 or
Hmm.
2020, I think somewhere in 2021, 20 million people, 20 million or 20 billion people's data, like phone numbers, name, email address, delivery address on which your grocery comes to your house. All that was published on a dark web. So privacy is
Okay.
very important. Yeah, privacy is very important. Like, it's not like I've seen a trend in people, or people like, or the students who are coming up, that they are very much inclined towards data science and ML, but there is this part which is still not explored. And you know what? A point will come, because I struggled for finding top my PhD topic with my supervisor. A point will come that there will be stagnation in AI and ML, because people would have eventually done a lot of, like, introduced a lot of smartness in the system because of GPUs and everything, like fast computing and
Okay.
everything. But then hackers are smarter than us. They're
Okay.
always one step ahead us. Okay. So this area of privacy and governance is very much not well explored and well, you can say, well, pillared, rather.
Yeah. Nice. It's nice that you mentioned that we can do back engineering, and then
Yeah,
we can do
I have done it
tracing
myself
and that. Oh wow. So
on a
like,
quicker
are there
side.
particularly like chatbots made for this purpose by the hackers, whose
Yeah,
appropriate
I mean,
task or
there are
the only
many.
task is to do rehashing?
Yeah, there are many ways to do that. Like, one of the way which we used to use as kids was like, you use Postman, right? And if I
Oh,
have not,
okay.
yeah, you use Postman and the free version. And if like, I'm telling you an incident like 6 7 years ago, when I was doing a project for, I think, for a friend or something. I was
Okay.
in Cognizant. I was working in Cognizant, and just I was helping a junior with the product. I saw that we applied like a regex logic on someone's password. Okay. A password, or
Oh,
thing, I think the last 4 5, like, you have email addresses. Then what they do is like, for example, your email address is Ratan Jot Singh. Okay. And you have
okay.
Ratan dot Singh at the rate of gmail.com. So what will people do is, at the rate of gmail.com is very common. No point of
Yeah.
putting any encryption on that, right? But what will people do is that they will put a
Okay.
hashing or a encryption logic on the Ratan and Singh part. Only the first 2 letters or 3 letters will be there. So I was just trying it out with one of my friend. I won't name the website of it, which website it was. Now it is quite advanced. uh, we're trying to get that information from that website. uh, and it was free. Okay, the customers who visited that page, etc.,
Okay.
etc. And the fellow was working with me was pretty smart, like pretty smart, and he knew like it is a simple regex only that they have, the analytic problem that we we do in our entrance exams and all, pattern recognition sort of
Yeah,
something
yeah,
or
yeah, yeah, Pat. Yes, yes,
very
ma'am.
much reggae based, like an encryption, like if it is a, then +4 and then -8 and then like that kind of logic, and he pulled that logic out, and I could see the entire email address of the person. Okay, what will I do to that email address was useless for us. But there are so many incidents like that that has happened. For example, one of the incident is recent incident, I don't know whether you guys know about it, is from dark beans. It has exposed almost 3 point more than 3 billion records of uh, it has like 3.3 or 3.5 billion records of customers. Why? Because of a faulty or misconfigured Elasticsearch. Like
Okay.
you have that, like when you go to Google or any web search sort of setup, you have created, you
Okay.
do Elasticsearch, right?
Yeah.
You search for the keywords, and they had a misconfigured Elasticsearch. And that
Okay. So
that
that.
one thing, so as I'm telling you, they are very smart. And I don't know whether you know about this company called Apt 14. It was very
App.
famous during, yeah. It is it's a Chinese crime company, very famous, very notoriously famous. They extracted the information from WHO website. If WHO is not safe, who the hell are we?
That is actually quite, I
Yeah.
will say,
So
scary
even,
also because
yeah, it is very scary. I mean, ask your father, okay,
okay.
who is holding a credit card or something. How many irritating calls from Bajaj Finance and Pesa? Your father's and yours email address, once you will get into a job, will be sold. Email address, phone number, and account number, everything will be sold in 10 rupees to vendors. This is how it works. It is very scary. So that's the reason this is the area where people are not thinking, all the algorithms. Okay, you want to provide, you have the data, you are making hefty neural networks and everything, but nobody cares about, like, people do care about it now, but still they are not step to step with these, smart people
Okay.
who are like way ahead of them. So this is
I
the
see.
area you can actually, if you are in R&D and you want to
Mhm.
really make a difference in the world, make the digitalization a safe domain for people. And this is a very interesting area.
So, actually, I'm quite interested in this topic. So, I will just bring both of us back to VIT. So, like right now in VIT, we have this particular website or a web server known as VTop, in which we have all the details regarding our own academics, regarding our marks, about course pages, timetables, everything of that sort is,
Yeah.
just accumulated. I don't know if was it there before in 2013, but it sure does has a quite relevance nowadays for the students. So being someone like not bigger than, like, we are not WHO, or we cannot do that, we don't have that bigger database or data structure. So how can a student of VIT who is administrating VTOP make sure that his particular website is secured with all the threats that we were all talking about? Like, how we can start at least.
Okay. So the first and the following part, when you create something, there should be the data that you are accumulating has to be divided into classes: class 1, class 2, class 3, with the decreasing class 1 being the most crucial data. I mean, if being a woman,
Mhm.
I'm not comfortable sharing my age, and it's not me. Anyone whose date of birth and credit card and CVV, nobody is interested in that, right? So that is class 1 data. Class 2 data would be that has potentially less harm to you, which is, you can say, your email address. It like, I can't do much if I have your email address other than spamming you. And
Yeah.
until unless somebody is not smart enough to click that link, and I have like the entire access to his setup and system and everything, he's logged on, I get that information. I
Oh,
have that incident also, where like a friend of mine like got a spam message and he clicked in and everything was gone.
oh.
And
So like these links can be from your
oh yeah,
messaging department, or it can be a hoax, or what is
it's a
it, these
hoax,
links?
it's a hoax. It's a
Oh,
hoax. So
okay.
yeah.
So
So this class, like you have to basically outline your data in the class, and then for different classes, there should be different type of strategy to handle with it. First of all, the data should not go from like for example, there must be a database, right? And that database, and technically in the companies which are basically handling very critical data, for example, fintechs, healthcare, pharmaceuticals, etc., etc., that's the reason, like even there's so much digitalization and cloud and all that, they still believe in old school strategies of having things on prem. Like they have the server rooms and everything, and nobody can, like, it's within their setup. From cloud, I mean, it is, trust me, it is a little easier to hit the cloud than in-prem. So all this data should not go to system two. Should not, like if I'm a customer and I'm filling in the data and it stays in a on-prem system. Say if it is cloud also, if you can't have a server or anything, that should be like, it should, like the movement should be least, because whenever there's a movement of data, then it is easy to create a parallel pipeline from Kafka streams and pull the data out from that. Do you understand? Or you redirect the path of the data. That is one of the, like, the pipe is easier to break in than the big drum in which you have a water full, like gallons and gallons of water. So that is one strategy, like displacement should be least. Now when it comes to using that data, now how do we use that data? Either we use it on our direct use from customer executive to, during one-on-one calls and everything. And even if you notice, they also don't have much access, and
hmm.
somebody from the internal team or security team will connect to you, and then because they can't give the information, right, they're calling random people, and who knows whom they end up calling, some Russian mafia or something.
Yeah.
And then
Oh,
yeah. So the other part is like the biggest in like, and why has data breaches have been so much in the recent? Because uh, the displacement of the data has increased due to ML and AI. Okay, now what we
oh,
want, yeah, what we want for what we want, like we want, like in a traditional ML and AI setup, you want the data. I'm talking about traditional, not the ones that we are currently working. So you want the data on a one place, and it's a hefty cloud environment where you have collected, like, peta GB, like PT peta GB data and everything like that. Now when you are training your model, that also has a capacity to it's taking information, it's learning from that data. That also has a capacity to you can say expose your information. Rather than your models should be your research topic, now with keeping the security, privacy, governance in head, should be that you make your model robust enough that it goes to the smaller devices where the data is, be it as a phone or a tab or a not laptop, but yeah, these edge devices, it learns from there without accessing the information, and comes back with a trained model. So that is one approach when it comes to application. The other is to have a strong procedural guideline set up for the encryption and the hashing of the data, so that no random person like us kids out of the college were able to understand the regex model that is working there, or the encryption that was working there, right? So these kind of protocols you have to follow in an fintech like PayPal. You have more than 300 procedures. One procedure has at least 350 policies.
okay.
And when this scrutinizing of the data happens, no, it's a taxing task. believe me, it's so taxing that it really aches your gut that, oh God, what is this happening? But it is necessary. What can you do?
I understand. So like
Yes.
all these tasks which we do, so what I was like when I was hearing you, I was thinking about AI and ML, like machine learning, like we have to train those models. So while training a particular package to a particular model, so how is that particular process done? Like suppose if we have a model, like it's a robot, like we have to make a robot and we have to teach him that yes, this is a picture of a dog, and how is that particular information transferred from the outer world to, like, is there any
So
particular basic around it?
yeah, so basically, when it comes to like what aspect do you want to understand, the methodology of that thing, or you want to understand it in terms of privacy and governance aspect, like how should you avoid
Like in
giving
case,
access
yeah, like
to your
yeah, so
gallery?
suppose I will tell you, like suppose somehow sometimes in a particular website we have logged in and he's asking, are you a robot or are you a human, or prove that you are a human, and then you come and then you click it. So I was like, how is that particular data is transferred, like if that's particular human to that particular model?
Okay,
Because
so
yeah.
uh, I don't know whether you have heard of this experiment. I don't remember the name of the experiment, but there are two pieces of like an observer is sitting on this side of the seat, and then there are two people who are responding to his questions. Okay,
Okay.
one is a human and one is a computer. I don't remember. It's a very classical experiment. I forgot the name of the experiment. Now I have the same set of questions, right, for the human and for the robot also. And
Okay.
now the responses that are coming, that has a pattern, right?
Okay.
Right, especially also when you are on the browser and they say, are you human?
Yeah.
Like, click the traffic lights and all that. So
Click that up.
human have a specific pattern to do that. But trust me, it's easy to crack that part also.
Okay.
Yeah. So human has a pattern. Human has a very erratic pattern, but the computer will not have that erratic. Like if somebody's like, it's if it's a robot that will, or a software that is, trying to hack in, it will not have an erratic pattern of choosing the stuff. It will have a very straightforward, like it will go pixel by pixel, like for loop. A for loop
Yeah,
runs,
yeah.
right? A for loop doesn't runs randomly. It runs like
Okay,
in a
okay.
sequence. There is a sequence, but we don't have a sequence.
So like I was just curious, like does that particular page ever has found a particular robot? Because if you are making a particular robot, that robot may be knowing like how to crack that particular thing. So is it that strong or secure to, save a particular website?
Yeah, I mean, as I mentioned to you, they
Hmm.
have strategy to secure it. As I told you, a very simple example of for loop. A robot will go pixel by pixel, right? If
Yeah.
there are eight boxes, it will go one, two, three, four, five, six. You won't go one, two, three, four, five, six.
Okay.
Correct?
Yeah.
So have a predefined. I mean, of course, there is a, like if somebody is smart, like when vaccines were going on, for example, the
Yeah.
slots for vaccine, we created like small hitting the like the http api and then getting like a blink sort of something as soon as
Links.
the slot opens up. So these are the small things that lead to dangerous things like that. So this is I mean, yeah, they do have protocols. They do have like if coming back to your question, how to secure that, divide your data in classes, then set a procedures with respect to the classes, like the information
Hmm.
cruciality, and then use an encryption model, and then try as much as you like, try not to give as like try not to move the information from one place to another.
like the displacement part which
Yeah, the
you.
displacement part is very crucial. Like, as much as possible, you don't do that.
I see. So when we talk about like as we are right now in privacy, so when we come to privacy, a thing which the things which comes to my mind is like these tech giants. When we talk about these tech giants like Facebook, like YouTube, or Google, for instance. So they have such a broad database. They have data of, I think, of whole world only. They have all the information about us. So making it the epicenter, like the place where all the hackers or all the fishers can go and take all the information which we have. So how come Google and PayPal also, for instance, like you are working there, I know. So how are they managing to save a massacre? Because I know if somehow the things got leaked, it will be over. Like every data of all of
Yeah.
us will be spread online. So how are they saving it?
So, see, as I mentioned to you, we have to be one step ahead of them. So, know your data is the first basic step. Like, you should know what is coming in. If you don't even know, because there's plethora of data, there are models that classifies the data. Even in like when you type a keyword for maybe a research paper, why do you get relevant research papers? Not like any random thing that you are searching for on Google. Why? Because they know their data more than you do, right? So they have
uh,
classified their data. And then once you know your data, you are capable of putting uh, 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 relevant policies, procedures, and like basically uh, all the pipe like the and all the pipelines that are having access to that data are triply like like it's not one door for that access to that information. Like
I
there are
see.
several doors that you have to cross when it comes to uh, logging in, or like there are so many there are so many logins. I'll tell you this, there are at least like so many passwords just for me to remember just in PayPal. And the same was in
Yeah.
Oyo, same was in Yara. So it's not just one gateway that the person has to pass.
Multiple gateways.
It's multiple gateways, multiple firewalls that you have to cross. What you are seeing on a random search is very like it's very it's a very
Primitive.
generic picture. There's a
Yeah, okay.
so much happening behind. There are like at least like there are at least 7 to 8 firewalls that are applied when a customer pulls like brings in the data in any website, say any financial company, okay, or any healthcare company, your insurance companies, anything. There are at least 7 to 8 firewalls, and there are teams like they have heavily invested in teams.
I
As
see.
soon as one firewall breaks, everything go. It's just like fire, okay, and
I
it's
see.
just like evacuation process. So
Yeah. So yeah, yes, you can. Like I wanted to ask is, suppose now these companies are so matlab, they are like tech giants. They have that revenue, they have that budget that they can make a fully specialized teams. But for those small or these companies only in their earlier stages, or suppose if I have a company, it's not that big, and nowadays, as you know, like everyone is a expert in the technical field about what the data is and what it is. Like you said, you know your data, so everybody know their data. So how come a small enterprise or a small company who has his own confidential data, its own confidential data, how can they preserve it? Because
okay,
they
so the cleaning
providing there
stack.
is not. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, so provided that there is no much revenue, and they don't have that much of that intelligent manpower as compared to those tech power, if we say.
Okay,
So how
I
come,
lost you. I
like,
think this.
yes, am I audible? Hello.
Yeah. Am I back?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Am I audible to you? Yeah.
Yeah, it just hanged. So I kind of got get your question, like when it is a small enterprise. So see, the cleaning starts from the house itself. You'll clean
Okay.
outside, it will not give you benefit. You have to start cleaning from your setup. Like the
Setup.
basics I told you, right, that you don't have to,
Yeah.
like, you literally have trainings everywhere where you are like, I know you will say that, oh, I am not dumb that I'll open a hoax email, okay, when you'll
Yeah.
join a company. But then there are people who are smart, who will make it look like very genuine. So you, as soon
Ah.
as you join an organization or something, you are given certain, uh, certain basically exposure to how these things happen, and awareness to that. So once the awareness happens from the like, employee is the most important channel for anyone to do
I see.
anything. That's the reason there are setups or the protocols that whenever you leave for even for a glass of water away from your chair or something, lock your screen, log out often, don't just stay logged in all the time. You cannot, and there's a corporate policy also, like, if you get into their system and they see that you are inactive for 5 or 10 minutes, they log you out. Why will you stay?
So see, logging in also makes you like they that is also making us in the crosshairs
Yeah, I
of
mean,
them.
if you have opened an email which was a hoax, it has access to everything that you are doing on your company's laptop. And as soon as you log in into their setup or system or anything, any basic thing, they have access to
Okay.
that also.
That makes sense
I
actually
mean,
because
yeah,
yeah.
and there's so many data points. For example, big basket. Big basket has a
Yeah.
lot of users, right? Why just
Yes.
it was able to take, say, almost 20 million data points. Why not all of it? Because they detected it, right? The connection got closed. So these are the
I
things, like the cleaning first starts from you. Like, you being a employee are first responsible for protecting the data, not sharing the information, any sort of information, be passports. Why do we have like eight different passwords in the same company? It can run on the same password, na?
mm,
Right? And it is like there are adherent policies. So even if you are a small scale organization, you can have these strict policies that, when you log in into this system, this password, when you log in into this system, this password. Then you have basically pin generation, like OTP. These days you
mm,
have that even when you log in into servers. So that is very cheap. I mean, OTP generation is very cheap. Until unless somebody has hacked your mobile also, like, you have to reduce it's simple. You have to reduce the probability of somebody uh, stealing from your house. So if you have like multiple gateways, multiple firewalls, multiple steps, complex steps, the person is eventually going to give up at some point. So even if you are a big
mm,
company or you are a small scale company, at least those hurdles will help you. He'll break
I
into
see.
the Yeah, he'll break into the main door. He'll not reach to the locker, right?
I see. Yeah.
So these are the very basic stuff. I mean, I think I mean, you are still in college. Once you join a company where you're placed or anything, you'll see, you'll be like, you'll get fed up of the number of passwords you have to remember. You literally have to keep an app to remember a password.
Okay. That is actually quite interesting to know all these insights.
So like the
So
cleaning starts from the
yeah.
house first, and then it, like, fire. Like, what's the point of having a firewall if an employee is, not vigilant to just like giving away the
The
information?
password, yeah,
Yeah,
information. So
any
like
password, any sort of information.
has a blunder ever happened, like a company or a very well established company just went on and made a mistake and all the data is just scattered in the internet, and has that ever happened in the past?
Yeah, many, like, you just make a random Google events in 2023 where data breach happened. You'll get a list.
Okay,
You'll
so
get a
that
log.
many.
Huh. I just mentioned, right, about faulty misconfiguration of Elasticsearch,
Misconfiguration. Yes.
Elasticsearch, and one, like, they have a combination, Elasticsearch and Kibana. Yes, so they have a misconfiguration. Just a misconfiguration lead to 3 point some 5 or 6 billion of data records. It was in billions. That's why I remember billions.
Oh my. Billions. That makes.
Yes. Ask your father how many calls he gets from Bajaj Finance. It's because somebody is stealing his data from somewhere or somebody is selling it. Of course, that's also happened.
Okay, so like when we input our particular mobile number in a particular website and we
Yeah.
get a bank call, so that means that bank server has gathered that data from that particular restaurant website or any website where we have
Yep.
input our number.
Or maybe they are
So
selling it.
is it wrong? Or, oh, if they're selling it also. They can
That's
sell
what
it.
I mentioned, right? Yeah, I mentioned in the beginning of the call that your email address, your phone number, and the credit card, your bank, everything. If you apply for loan online, that's why it is like whenever you go outside and they ask for your phone number, that's sir, can you give your number for make a billing? Even in McDonald, if possible, avoid it.
Okay, so like who gets that money? Because
Yeah,
that will be a
it's
lot of money because there will be a
yeah,
lot of users.
yeah. It's a. I mean, I don't want to name something derogatory here, but it's it's dangerous. I mean, if possible, leave
Yeah,
as
I see. I get.
less digital footprint as possible for you. That's the reason. I think, this is one of the areas where I would also like to continue my research. Like, I really wish that I'm somehow just engrossed in my research. I don't have to pay the bills and have to do a corporate job. But thankfully, I have a job given the tough times. But then,
Right.
yeah, this is the area where you can really, get intriguing things done, learn a lot, and there's so many scope. I mean, eventually AI ML will have a stagnation. I can bet you for that.
Okay.
But
Oh,
this
okay.
is not going to have stagnation in a foreseeable future. The security part, and if you do something that acts as a in the uh, pain in the mind of the hackers, like you build up something that they are not able to crack it or something, you will be a billionaire in the matter of days, not even weeks.
That will
And
interest many
yeah,
students. I can guarantee
yeah.
that.
And that is not easy. That's the reason you are going to get become a billionaire if you crack that thing.
So, what is the demand of these data scientists or cyber security people in the industry right now? Like, you have international exposure also and working in a big company. Like, do you think what should a particular student cover in his learning stages so that he can be as employable or as ready for the industry?
Yeah, so see, these two things are different. Okay, one is a pure software
Okay.
engineering, and the other is more of an data scientist. It's like data scientist. What is a data scientist? Somebody who is able to make a setup which is like making sensible predictions for the future, for the foreseeable future, from the past data. So what mistakes that I have seen people make, especially in data science and ML, is they're very much dependent on, it's like a black box for them. They don't understand the math behind it. And that was the same with me when I started. If somebody would have guided me to that, please, Lavina, get into the depth of the statistics, I wouldn't have struggled so much in TU Munich. I struggled a lot. I mean,
Okay.
uh, on an average, it takes almost 5 to 6 semesters to complete a master's in Munich, and the same happened with me. Of course, with the job, like I was working 20 hours a week as a software developer and or a data engineer and stuff like that. But uh, yeah, I mean, if you start like from the beginning itself, if you start with your basics clear, then
Hmm.
there's nobody who's going to beat you. But if you are only like shallow in your learning and understandings, then you are replaceable.
I
Then you are
see.
replaceable,
Especially, yeah.
at least in ML and data science. Now with hardcore software engineering, you have to be really good with your programming skills. But with the given era of chat GPT and all, you don't have to mug up stuff. That's a good thing. Like in our case, we had to mug up stuff, but that's also good. Like it's in our head, right? We don't have to
Hmm.
go to our references again and again, but still, that's like and the so yeah, software engineering is and data science is integrated. When you create a model, you have to productionize it so that it is usable
Hmm.
to a person. So eventually somebody from software development have to create an entire pipeline, cdci, etc., etc., deployment, docker, etc., to eventually make it reach to a platform where your results are seeable. So for example, oyo's at least when I was working, oyo's recommendation model was on pixie random walker. It was a algorithm which was also used by many other websites. Okay. And the pipeline itself was so complex. Like it's not just creating the model. So you that's the reason when you mentioned that you are a data scientist, I kind of didn't abide to that, because my ambition or my envision has always been to understand the entire pipeline. So get a bigger picture, start from the basics, be it
Hmm.
from the data science or from the or in the software engineering. Like when you're studying a cybersecurity subject, or a subject which is more inclined towards you know software engineering, get your basics clear, get all the basics of oops clear. See if if your 10 lines of code is at least a like it's accommodating at least six or seven concepts in that, be it abstraction, encapsulation, inheritance, etc., etc. So it starts from the basic. If your basics are clear, you are unbeatable. If your knowledge is shallow, be it business or technical, you are very much replaceable. But of course, you never know what happens in the future, so be prepared.
Okay, so while talking about future, let's take this conversation only forward. So AIML, you have mentioned that it will come to a stagnant point. Like after that, there's no more AIML, or what will
uh,
happen to AIML as a field in the future? Like not in the near future, but what will be the scope of AIML in the future?
like the place where I'm coming from is from my research. Like previously when people used to work in their early, like in the 2000s wala decade, and or
Yeah,
20
yeah, yeah.
11th decade, they were like tweaking the hyperparameters. There was a lot of manual thinking in hyperparameters, because we didn't had so much supercomputing that time. So the algorithms were taking a lot of, and there was less automation even in the field of AI and ML. Now with the research with respect to federated learning, where models are made lighter. Like I don't know, have you
Hmm.
used TensorFlow?
No, no, no.
So in TensorFlow also you have a lighter version of TensorFlow, which is also as good as the TensorFlow. Okay,
Okay.
so the automation part is going to hit the places where you were thinking about tuning the hyperparameters and making your model run again and again and again. That is also going to get automatized.
Ah, okay, I see.
So you don't have to like see AI like the smart, like the digitalization, the chat GPT and all that. If you'll
Mhm.
see, that is very much there to like reduce the burden of the mundane jobs from us. Okay,
Yeah,
it is not going to replace you. Like it doesn't have a, like, if I trust me, I've tried many times to ask my research problem to chat GPT, and it has given me bullshit answers.
yeah, agree with that.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah. So it has a capability to make your CGPA fall. It is so bad.
Yes, that is actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So the smartness that will come is in thinking. Like your mundane jobs of running the model again and again with different set of parameters, is something which is going to come in future, be it in the field of neural architectural search or in the field of federated systems. There's so many topics in these two itself.
Yeah, I see. But in Chat GPT, we can say like they have all they. It is in a very primitive stage. We can say that because I think 3.5 or 4 is what Chat GPT is right now, and in future, I think it will
It is
make sure
not
that
going
we
to
will get
be
correct
no,
answers more
no,
often.
no. It is no, no, no. I don't. I mean, it will give the answer. Accuracy of the answers will increase
Okay.
only and only when you will have a reference for it to be believable. It will always speak
Okay.
with respect to reference. It doesn't have human neurons to think something new
Mhm.
out of it. The capability of playing around with state of the art is something which chat gpt will never get.
So, is it possible to put that in any other AI model?
What? I didn't get your
Like
question.
the ability of thinking new from a particular reference. Can we get that in another model, or can in the
So it
near
will
future
get
we can expect
smart
it?
learning. It will get smart by learning from the references. But until unless something is already been thought by a human being which doesn't exist, I don't think
Oh,
it
okay.
can see that.
So
I'm
what
not
we know
denying
is the
that.
max they can know.
Yeah, like somebody way, way,
Uh,
way smarter than us has left a digital footprint somewhere, then that system has the capability to
to cover
exploit
our
that
mindset.
information. Yeah,
Yeah,
but until someone great mind has not, reached that capability to think of something, I don't think chat gpt can do that. I've
I
tried
see.
so many times to ask, like, like give me something so that I can show that to my professor and he be happy with me. And I have not got
Like in
any help.
colleges right now, if I can give you insight, and if the people allow me, like most of the works I think is now, I will say, partnered by Chat GPT because
Yeah,
they
because
it
our
is a
education
basic.
system is not good. It is a lot
Okay.
on mugging. Yeah, it is a lot on mugging. There was a, I mean, I don't know how viral is this going to get, but I'll be very honest. There was a stark difference between when I was studying in VIT. It was the paragraphs that I was writing. I'm not sure whether people were reading also that or not. During exams in TU Munich, I was just getting 2 lines and I had to accommodate my entire answer in that. So just imagine how concise I had to be. Plus, my handwriting is very ugly and big.
Okay.
I was,
They
I
deduct
also,
marks for that.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it was never from a textbook or anything. It was always from some reference paper from somewhere or some presentation that they have displayed in some lecture. That's how I think Munich has had a very different approach, like different effect on my personality altogether. The entire education system, be it managerial or technical in India, is very much parrot reading,
Yeah.
except in few
So
universities.
yeah, so now let's integrate this to our conversation only. So like you have been to Munich, Germany, and you have studied there, and you have studied in Vellore, India at that time. So what is the current position of India and Germany, and how you compare them in this particular topic only, like governance and privacy? Like who is doing better, what else they can do, or what else they are, thinking of doing in the future? What is the current
See,
status?
there are always pros and cons of things. And if you
Okay.
see from India's point of view, you see digitalization, everyone is using Paytm, Karo, and all that, right?
Yes,
I
yes.
remember when the digitalization and everything started in India, I still had to carry cash for coffee, you know, and
Okay. Yeah.
they are very, like, see, they have been through a lot. Germany have been through like 2 world wars. They have, like, been to the dumpster
That too they
twice,
lost
then
it. Yeah.
and then came up again. So they're very cautious about things. They don't have autos and rickshaws. They want their people to walk so that if something happens, they are able to run, not like
Oh,
us.
okay.
you
Oh,
know for a Uber. So digitalization
I
in
see.
India is way, way ahead what uh, Germany has. It has benefits, but it also has laws,
Okay.
disadvantages. It has made us lethargic and more of a cocoon sort of setup. We are smart. We are smart people. If they, I think, they are not doing it on purpose because they know the consequences. If they have the capability of building a car like BMW, then they can do
Mhm.
anything. Trust me.
I see.
But we
So
Indians
let
are very
me,
smart.
yeah, let
Trust
me
me. We
ask
are
a
very
notorious
smart.
question. Yeah, so let me ask a notorious question. So I want just one line answer. Like,
Yeah.
so an engineer in India and an engineer in Germany, who is better? Let me ask this.
How to put it?
That too in privacy domain. Yeah, like who, like in your domain only, like from your experience, what you have
Yeah,
seen.
see, I am a combination of data and privacy both. I'll tell
Yeah.
you an incident, okay? There was this one
Okay.
incident where I was working somewhere in a company in Munich, and that was my
Okay.
first job, okay, in
Okay.
Germany in 2016. And I shared some information, piece of code information through a WhatsApp snippet to an colleague to see what, like, where do you think it's breaking? And he yelled at me so much. He's like, no matter what, it's a piece of code, but you are not supposed to share company's information via WhatsApp, etc.,
WhatsApp.
etc.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see.
and why are you doing this, etc., etc. But I think if I would have done that back then in India, it would have not been uh,
An issue.
and a big issue like that, like the awareness with them. I think it's because of their background and what they have been through. Like, we have been through slavery, okay, so we understand what freedom is.
Yeah.
But they have, like, had two wars, and they have paid a lot for it, and the lack of like the leak of information and everything. We didn't had such problems, so they're more vigilant than us Indians, to be honest. But we are
So
way
is that
smarter than them.
professionalism or they're just vigilant because of the
Profession,
past?
yeah, this it's because of that past. They are more professional in present. But
But if you compare
there are many
knowledge
other.
wise,
Knowledge wise, I think there's no difference. We are as
oh,
smart
okay,
as they
that's
are,
nice.
maybe more, and maybe more open minded. That's the reason we have so much of digitalization, and we are handling such a big population. I think they will crash with that kind of population. They'll start hyperventilating if there are more
Yeah.
than three people in a house, two BHK.
And that makes you more replaceable also, I guess, because as the more the population there is, the more is the scope of teaching or mastering, like teaching or like training the population better. So the competition is also neck to neck, and you have to be better, better,
Yeah,
better, better.
that's what,
So
like, it's easy. I've seen so many people who were. I myself consider myself average. I'm not a very Einstein sort of brain, okay. But with the minimum resources that we have now, it's way better compared to what previously it was when I was a kid. I mean, I'm just like maybe 8 or 9 or 10 years older than you, not if not more. Uh, uh, the plethora of information that you guys, the access that you guys have, we had it, but not to that extent, but a limited. So with that kind of digitalization in India, we have the capacity to do a way better and grow faster than them.
I see. So, ma'am, the last question which I will ask is, what are some myths which we people have about privacy? Like we take care of, but it is not actually needed. Is there any particular instance that you have been through? Like we do over, but we don't need that. In that place, we can do this, and that's enough.
Nothing is a myth in privacy and governance. If you
Uh,
think, if you're able to think of this, somebody would have already thought of it, and he or she is
yeah,
probably
yeah, yeah.
working on it to crack that.
So
So
that makes you more vulnerable. That if you think
yes,
that there
yes,
is, yeah,
yes, you have to be always on your foot to uh, like you never know. That's the reason you always have the firewalls up and the privacy agendas and all these things up. And data is everything these days. I told you, right, how it is being sold off, the points are being sold off to petty bank loaners, and not
Bank.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
And they end up, you just ask this question to your father today, because
Okay.
how many calls do you get from Bajaj Finance, Pesa Bazaar, Quicker, that you have a pre-approved loan of 5
Even
lakh?
even sometimes I also get those calls
See,
like,
you
"Ida, do
don't
you
even
want
have
a
a
loan?"
source of income, right? You don't even have a source of income yet.
Exactly. So, thank you, ma'am. So, can you like, how was it according to you? Like, what more better things like we can ask, like when concluding in this particular interview? So, was it beneficial for us? Like, what do you think? What we are doing is correct? Like, what we can improve? How it you see this scenario as? We want your
Uh,
insights on this thing.
one thing that I feel is really good. I wish it was there when I was a student in VIT. I would have also joined. Like I used to join calls, but it was more live than the digital ones. So we had access to who was within the vicinity rather than somebody, in the industry or remotely or anything like that. So that is a good part. One. The other thing was, I really don't like the concept of the presentation and predefined put procedure of things, because then the introduction of new things is, or the new questions is very much limited. The third part is, if you it would have been more nice to have more questions which you can include it via Slido or any Google form, uh, because it would have added more
Hmm.
diversity to your questions only.
I see. Okay, so thank you, ma'am. That was a very
Thank
lovely discussion that we have. It was very informative and yet entertaining also. We learned about a lot of things. I will not log out. I will not log in along in this particular website I'm logging in. So thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you.
That's
Thank you
it.
for your time. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye, ma'am.
Bye.